Alright, coming in at number 10, we have the deep space radio bursts. Mystery fast radio bursts were discovered in 2007. These bursts flash for a micro instant but emit more energy than the sun does in 10,000 years. The high energy surges of long waves have been detected 18 times over the past 10 years, and one burst in 2012 recorded in Puerto Rico occurred numerous times in the same pattern. Okay, this is what it sounded like. After fierce debates and a lot of head scratching, the source of the sound was traced to a microgalaxy 3 billion light years away from Earth. A lot of theorists have concluded that the sound is a space signal from another world or a parallel universe looking to get in touch. Coming in at number 9, we have the man from Taurid. Were we sent a man from another parallel universe, or did he arrive via some kind of portal or vortex? Our story here stems back to 1954 when a man was detained at the Japanese border after arriving on a plane from Europe to Haneda Airport. The man said he was on his 3rd business trip to Japan that year, and he had a wallet filled with a mixture of currencies, seeming to verify his business traveller status. When he presented his passport, officials were absolutely baffled, asking where he was from. Now, the man, who primarily spoke French, said, "Taurid. Where is this mystery place?" He showed his passport again and the stamps that supported his travels. The only thing is, nobody had ever heard of Taurid. The company he was travelling to said that they'd never heard of him, and he was carrying a checkbook to a non-existent bank. When he was asked to point out Taurid on the map, he pointed to where Andorra is today and seemed confused and offended to be told that it's not a real country. He was detained in a hotel overnight while Japanese authorities decided what to do with him, but by morning he disappeared. Did he accidentally walk through a portal to another universe? Maybe. Coming in at number 8, we have the Bernstein-Bears phenomena. Also called the Mandela effect, the Bernstein-Bears phenomena claims to prove the existence of parallel universes with subtle differences. People vehemently claim that the Bernstein-Bears were spelled with an E and not an A, and honestly, I for one absolutely thought that the Looney Tunes were the Looney Tunes until I watched a video on the phenomena last year, and now I'm straight up convinced that I'm living in the wrong universe, as it is clearly Looney Tunes. They're cartoons. This new world doesn't make any sense. Some people out there are also adamant that Nelson Mandela died in prison in the late 1980s, which is more than just a slightly altered timeline. It's not just spellings here, this is a pretty major parallel universe event. Coming in at number 7, we have deja vu. Deja vu, a glitch in the Matrix, or a signal from a parallel universe. While both seem as likely as one another, it is thought by some that the weird moments where we feel like we've been or experienced something before are actually signals that something key is happening in our parallel lives. Not only do some people believe parallel universes exist side by side, some people think they interact with one another in some way. According to Dr. Michio Kaku, an American futurist, deja vu occurs as a result of a person's ability to flip between universes. Others believe it is because we're vibrating in unison with the frequency of another universe that's parallel with our very own. Oh, I've gone cross-eyed. Coming in at number 6, we have the Lost Beatles album. A parallel universe may have given our world a gift in the form of a Lost Beatles album, Everyday Chemistry. The story goes that in 2009, a man called James Richards found himself accidentally in a parallel universe, as you do. Luckily, there was also a person from another parallel universe there, a man named Jonas. Now, Jonas was on a trans-dimensional tourism trip from the other Earth, and he told Richards that in his world, amongst other things, John Lennon was still alive and the Beatles never broke up. Richards then stole a copy of a later album never released by the band and returned with it to our Earth. What did he do with one of the most sought after pieces of music from a non-history that almost but never happened here? He uploaded it to the internet. Eagle-eared fans were absolutely having none of it though. They said the album is comprised of clever mashups from all of the Beatles' solo careers. Richards later said that even though in an alternate universe the Beatles hadn't broke up, that didn't mean their future music ideas disappeared. I'm not so sure about this one, but I would love to hear what Paul McCartney has to say about it. Paul, tell us, is it real? I guess you're living in another universe so you don't know, but I don't know. I feel like you'd be able to answer. Coming in at number 5, we have dreams. Could our dreams be signals from a parallel universe? Some say maybe. In a number of First Nations cultures in North and Central America, people believe that dreams allow us to walk planes in other dimensions. Their reasoning is that dreams take place in color and can include all of their senses. They think that when you're in a dream, you are in another world, perhaps a world you already exist in. If you're doing something strange in your dream, maybe it's a sign that actually you live a far stranger life somewhere else. Coming in at number 4, we have the bruise. Anyone else here bruised like a peach? Just me? Me? And the universe. In 2010, along with a team of researchers, Stephen Feeney of the University College in London announced that he had discovered patterns in the radiation background left over from the Big Bang. Now this seemed to suggest that our universe bumped into not 1, not 2, but 4 other universes and was left bruised. Okay, what is the plural of universes? Universi? Universi? Universi. Also, from the bruising, further researchers in California think that it is clear that this leads to some kind of like bubble universe theory, which maybe I can get on board with. Maybe Men in Black got it right when they imagined us all as marbles in a big bag. Coming into number 3, we have the cold spot. In 2004, astronomers found something that baffled them, an unusually cold area of space. The area is 1.8 billion light years across and much colder than its surroundings. The area also contained 10,000 less galaxies than in other areas of a similar size studied in space. A researcher from Durham University in the UK believed that the spot could be evidence of a multiverse. They said it seemed as if a parallel universe smashed into ours, affecting it like a car pile-up on the motorway would, only they're calling it a cosmic shunt. They believed the impact was so vast it pushed energy out from a big region of space, therefore creating the cold spot. It's hard to get your head around, but that is what they think. Coming in at number 2, we have City in the Sky. In October 2015, Chinese TV went wild when thousands of residents in 2 areas of the country reported seeing a huge floating city in the clouds. Puzzled onlookers saw skyscrapers in the clouds and believed that they were seeing a ghost city or the colliding of our reality with a parallel universe. The phenomenon occurred in both Guangdong and Jiangxi, with some believing it was the beginning of an alien invasion. The images were caught on camera for the world to see and promptly went viral across the rest of the globe. So what on Earth or above Earth is going on? Well, even though it looks like a city in the clouds to you and me, apparently it is an optical illusion called Fata Morgana, which is a natural mirage. So that is what a lot of scientists are saying anyway, but other people are convinced it's a sign of a parallel universe or even a window to another world. Finally, coming into number 1, we have black holes. The theory of loop quantum gravity suggests that there is no point of singularity in a black hole, rather they're simply folds in the universe. Everything we know about quantum physics tells us that information is never lost, that energy can't be created or destroyed, so perhaps black holes don't suck and destroy, maybe they suck and create. A lot of scientists are dabbling with the idea that black holes are indeed folds or portals to an older part of the universe. Professor Stephen Hawking gave a lecture in 2015 wherein he discussed how it may be possible to come out of the other side of a black hole. He said the hole would need to be large, and if it was rotating, it might have a passage to another universe, but you couldn't come back to our universe. Anyone want to take that one-way trip? I don't know if I do. So guys, are black holes portals to another universe? Coming in at number 10, we have the Bermuda Triangle. Ever wondered about the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle? It's a known spot for boat and plane disappearances. This spot between Miami, Bermuda and San Juan in Puerto Rico has seen a large number of mysterious disappearances, leading some people to speculate that there is something mysterious and malicious going on. Some of the most notable losses have been the USS Cyclops that disappeared with 308 people on board in 1918, and the disappearance of the US Navy Avenger torpedo plane planes in 1945. According to the Express news publication, on average 4 planes and 20 boats are reported lost every year in the area. While we've never officially gotten to the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle mystery, some people think that it is a portal to another universe, and well, I guess that's why. Why couldn't there be a portal in the ocean? Recently, a treasure hunter claimed that they found an unidentified object that they believe is an alien spaceship under the Bermuda Triangle. Maybe it isn't something that crash landed, maybe it's something that came up. Perhaps it's a scary signal from a parallel universe. Coming into number 9, we have the Aurora Borealis. Is the aurora, otherwise known as the Northern Lights, a signal from another universe? The aurora appears as glowing curtains, like thin pieces of fabric waving in the wind. They're parallel rays that move in the direction of magnetic winds. They're charged solar particles reacting with our atmosphere and magnetic field. But can you imagine what people thought when they first saw them? Even though we have an explanation these days, people still find them understandably mystical. Some people believe that they are where the multiverses collide and 2 dimensions touch. This idea is kind of explored in Philip Pullman's Northern Lights or the Golden Compass, where the aurora lights the passage to another world. Okay, let's get a little further into the physics of the Earth's poles, shall we? Coming into number 8, we have the South Atlantic Anomaly. So the Earth has a double set of radiation belts, the outer and inner radiation belts that splay out like wings surrounding the Earth. This is often referred to as Van Allen. Anyway, these pull in the magnetic poles, but there is something weird going on, the South Atlantic Anomaly. This is where the Earth's inner Van Allen radiation belt comes closest to the Earth's surface, dipping down to just 120 miles in the sky. Here is where the Earth's magnetic field is weakest. This area has higher than usual levels of radiation. The International Space Station has extra shielding when passing through this area, and the Hubble Space Telescope doesn't take observations when it passes through. Astronauts have claimed to see weird shooting stars in this area too. Now the anomaly is exactly that, an anomaly. There's no matching in the north. Some people think that it means that our magnetic poles are primed and ready to flip. Others say it's evidence of a portal to a parallel universe. Alright, taking it in a different direction at number 7, we have cows falling through this sky. So how else would you explain a cow falling through the sky to Earth? Clearly the cow is just grazing way too near to a rip or a window in its parallel universe and it fell through to ours. But a really inconvenient location in the sky. I don't know, it does sound crazy, sure. In 2003, the New York Times ran an article about a Japanese fishing boat that was sunk by a flying cow, or more accurately, a cow that fell from the sky. In 2013, a Brazilian man was killed when a cow fell through his roof and crushed him. Where are these cows coming from? Could they be from another dimension? Maybe. Coming into number 6, we have the quantum jump. According to a man named Burt Goldman, often referred to as the American monk, he can jump through to alternate universes using meditation. Goldman has practiced Zen meditation for 50 years and now believes that he can access the multiverse. In one of his controversial YouTube videos, he says that there is an infinite number of parallel realities existing with us in the same room. He describes his multidimensional mental teleportation as a controlled daydream, which actually kind of builds on from our part 1 where we discussed some cultures believing that dreams come from a parallel universe. Coming into number 5, we have Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Some people believe that mirrors offer a glimpse into an alternate reality. A lot of these people have watched a lot of Star Trek, but to be fair, after scripting 2 of these videos and hearing some of the finer physics behind it all, it isn't even the craziest thing that I've ever heard. Believers in the occult and witchcraft often have a lot of superstitions surrounding mirrors. Perhaps Bloody Mary isn't a ghoul summoned from the dead, but a spooky lady from an alternate reality. Or maybe not. Some people believe that if you stare hard enough at your own reflection, you'll catch a glimpse of a parallel you, but this could just be hypnotic hallucination. Alright, building on from mirrors for a moment, at number 4 we have what lives behind the dark matter. Over the last few decades, scientists have observed a whole bunch of dark matter hanging out in our universe. Dark matter, so to speak, are dark spots that seem to make up 26.8% of our universe. No one knows what it consists of, and no one's ever really seen it because it doesn't interact with the matter that scientists scientists know about, visible matter that makes up around 4.9% of what we can see. Cosmology is a vast and complicated topic and field of study, so to simplify intense and thoroughly researched studies, some cosmologists do think that dark matter could be the sign of another inverse universe existing side by side to ours, but unseen. If you do want to do a deep dive into dark matter, I would recommend checking out Lisa Randall and Gigi Fan's new theory of dark matter. Coming into number 3, we have the mysterious case of Linnea Barcia. The internet is awash with stories from Linnea Barcia's strange day. The woman wrote to a Spanish website to say that she'd somehow jumped to another universe in 2008. This universe was similar, but not quite her known reality. The post came in 2008, and the 41-year-old said that she was worried that she was suffering from a psychotic breakdown, and I get it. She said that she'd gone to sleep one evening and woken up the next day to find a world around her altered in very strange and subtle ways. The sheets on her bed, for example, were different, which was somewhat baffling. When she went to work, she found that she was actually working in a different department in a slightly different part of the office. She found that she was still with her ex-boyfriend, not her new boyfriend of 4 months. Her sister had never had the surgery on her arm that she swore that she did. Odd. She wrote that the rest of the world seemed much the same. She went to the doctors and they suggested that she was suffering from hallucinogenic stress. Maybe she was, or maybe she slipped into a parallel universe. Coming into number 2, we have aliens and UFOs. There have been a number of alien and UFO sightings throughout history, and things really seem to ramp up between the 1940s and 1980s. The most notorious sightings include the Roswell crash landings, the Kenneth Arnold sightings, the Lubbock lights, the 76 Tehran incident, and the Belgium wave. The problem is that none of the sightings have ever been confirmed as aliens. They're simply unidentified objects amid unexplained phenomenon. On top of that, cosmologists and astronomers haven't identified any life beyond our planet as of yet, so it couldn't possibly be aliens, unless they've figured out how to travel faster than the speed of light and move quickly into hyperspace, in which case they could be coming from a parallel galaxy, or maybe they traveled through a wormhole from a parallel universe. Alright, finally coming into number 1, we have one of the most credible pieces of evidence for a parallel universe, but it gets pretty heavy, so bear with me, we're talking about electrons. Alright, so this is some pretty deep physics and it can get a bit intense, so I just want you to open your mind for a moment. So this is the humble electron. It could be the key to proving parallel universes once and for all. Electrons are little subatomic particles. Now, I want to try and keep it simple so we can all understand, but electrons can spin both clockwise and anti-clockwise. But quantum mechanics says that they can spin both clockwise and counterclockwise at the very same time, which means there are two things happening at the same time, which is hard for us to get our heads around because how? To quote an article in Noteworthy, if the world is full of weird objects that are spinning clockwise and counterclockwise at the same time, why have I in my entire life never seen that happen? That excellent question is the heart of what has become known as the quantum measurement paradox. The answer here simply could be the multiverse, and the key could be the makeup of everything. Electrons get even weirder as observed in quantum indeterminism. Basically, to keep this simple, if you fire an electron through a double slit, you would expect it to go through one slit or the other. However, scientists have observed electrons acting like waves, passing through both slits simultaneously and interfering with itself at the end. It's very, very complicated, but this could be a hint towards proving the theory that multiple outcomes create multiple universes. For example, there's a universe that exists where I put my hair behind my ear, and there's one where I chose not to. They may interfere with one another.
Alright, starting at number 10, unsanctioned connection. Reddit user Stars and Severance shared an experience they had when they were younger. When they were 12, they got their first phone for Christmas. Then, one night over the holidays, they had a crazy realistic dream. In the dream, they went to a girl's house making lion faces out of construction paper, and the girl in this very vivid dream had long red hair and looked nothing like anyone they knew. Then, the next day after this dream, they got a text from an unknown number. It said something along the lines of, "You'll never guess who I am." And then after some back and forth guessing, thinking it's one of their friends, the number sends a picture of a lion plate. just like in the dream. Then the next photo is a selfie, and the person texting had long red hair. Then through other texting and a one-sided game of 20 questions, it turns out this girl with the red hair knows all about the person receiving the text messages. So then they text for about 3 days before the girl texting them said, "Lose my number, forget me." She stated, "They are mad because I reached out to you." And who's they? Well, the user who shared this story didn't question the arguments of the girl and deleted the number in the text, never hearing from the girl again. But this leads me to think, from a dream to reality, this girl appeared. One explanation is a parallel universe. Think about it. Dreams can sure be wild and weird, but what about those times it feels just like real life? Can that be another universe trying to make a connection without freaking us out? Maybe. Alright, let's look at another text. Next, at number 9, disappearing texts. Random user on Reddit shared this experience they had. Their girlfriend was working at a restaurant that night and sent them a text that read, "Hey, I'm picking you up food when I'm done, so don't eat anything. Love you." And this message appeared during an emergency broadcast alert and then disappeared right after the alert. This seemed odd, so the person restarted their phone and went to go pick up their girlfriend from the restaurant. When they picked her up, she said they should go somewhere to eat, which threw them off because didn't she just say she was grabbing them food? But she said her phone was off the whole time she was at work. Never sent a text. The author of the story said they saw her turn on her phone as if it was off the whole time, and there was no evidence of a text sent. But the text they received came from the girlfriend's number. So their explanation? It must have been sent from an alternate universe. A parallel one where their girlfriend was going to get them food, and this was just a glitch in the matrix that disappeared once it slipped out. And texts aren't the only thing to slip through the matrix. Next, at number 8, an unexplainable photo. So Reddit user Jake Venom had a scare 7 years ago when he found a photo on his phone he couldn't explain. He was making some iced tea with a new tea maker and sent a photo to his buddy's group chat when the previous photo in his phone caught his eye. The previous photo was supposed to be the screenshot from Twitter he sent to a friend last night, but it wasn't. It was a blurry photo of what he recognized as the kitchen of his childhood house. But he hadn't been to that house. He sent the Twitter screenshot before he went to bed, and then he sent the tea maker photo when he was making tea in the morning. So this obviously freaked him out. He said he kept having a weird feeling when he was looking at the photo and there was no reasonable explanation for it, so he ended up deleting it to stop feeling that uneasy feeling. But another Jake Venom in another timeline still lives in that house and took a photo in his kitchen that never showed up on his phone. I'm thinking it could be. These alternate parallel universes must be like so messed. And so these have been digital so far, but what about a person who says they are from a place that no one knows exists, or doesn't exist? At number 7, from Lexaria. Back in 1851, a man who called himself Jofar Voren, or Joseph Voren, was found as he was wandering a German village. Joseph was speaking in broken German, but also spoke and wrote in unknown languages that he called Laxarian and Abramian. He said he was in Europe to find his long-lost brother, but he suffered in a shipwreck, as he came from Lexaria, which is in an area of Sakria. Now, if that doesn't ring a bell in your head, no, it didn't ring any bells for any of the officials trying to help this man out. He couldn't find where he was from. Any maps or globes didn't match what he knew. He called the 5 great continents of Earth Sakria, Alfar, Astar, Ulslar, and Yurplar, which doesn't match any of ours. People think he somehow fell into our universe from one much different from our own and much further away from where he anticipated to find his brother, but what do you think? But next, more of something different. At number 6, experiencing different days. This one comes from Stewie2Griffin34 on Reddit, who was watching another one of our parallel universe videos a couple months ago. It got them thinking of a weird day they themselves had. Their friend Kate, on break from her way to detention, said that their friend Nick wasn't in that day. But when they both got home, they got texts from both Nick and Kate saying that no, Nick was in school and detention and everything that day. And then Kate said that she hadn't told them that Nick wasn't in because she never took a break outside detention. So then they were all confused. And then on top of that, Nick said that he saw them go into the library that day and was at school, saying the user who posted this was just acting distant. Then the next day, the user, trying to figure out what was happening, tried to get other opinions, and Nick's friends said, no, Nick wasn't in the day before. So was this a prank or different people experiencing different days? And I swear I remember when people tell me something specific and then they say, no, that never happened, and I get confused, so what is the truth? On to number 5, missing graveyard. Reddit user City Loves Chew says her mom was the one to have the trippy experience in this one. The mom in question was traveling with a friend in Old Lyme, Connecticut to a beach they often went to, Hawk's Nest Beach. They had free time one day and explored the area and ended up finding a cool cemetery called the Lord's Cemetery with a big red gate. They checked it out, took some cool pictures, and then left. No biggie. But the next day, they couldn't find the same spot again. They asked people in town, police officers, everybody, and no one had heard of it. They tried to find it in the years following, but couldn't find it, even with the help of Google Maps. Plus, the photos they took were gone. No explanation. Which, when you think about it, is a grave experience from a parallel universe. And okay, that was a bad pun, we'll move on to the next one. Sorry. Next is number 4, from Denny's to Penny's. So, what if, suddenly, something so basic and normal to you was changed without question, and everyone then accepted it as the norm? Well, this happened to Reddit user is_emo. Back when they were a kid, they went to Denny's pretty often. So they were kinda shaken when one day, when they were young, their dad shook them awake and said, hey, we're heading to Penny's. And so they were all like, you mean Denny's, right? And their dad was like, no, Penny's. So they kind of accepted this, maybe it's a joke, and they roll up, but the yellow sign that is supposed to say Denny's is changed to Penny's. So now this kid is freaking out, but trying to keep cool, hide it, and yeah, you might be thinking this was just a one-day thing, maybe it was just shaken up, but no. They passed by this sign every day to school for a month, and all their friends at school kept saying it had always been Penny's anytime this person asked. But then, a month later, boom, Denny's again. So the kid asks his dad if it's changed, and their dad looks confused and asks, what do you mean? And so the kid plays it cool, but it shook them up for a while. Shook them up until they heard about possible parallel universes, and then it made total sense to them. What do you think Denny's is called in other universes? That's what I want to know. But anyways, the realization that there might be other universes doesn't come to everybody. At number 3, Guardian Angle. Now, a 28-year-old in Washington, D.C. named Lindsay got a scare from an unknown number. Whoever it was had bad spelling and used shortened text speak, sending sayings such as, Lindsay, I see you, with Lindsay misspelled and the words all in letter form. But this wasn't what scared her though, even though there was one text that said, I'm your guardian angle. What scared her is when she started getting texts about what she was doing currently, things that could only be described if someone was watching her, talking about her watching TV and saying they were standing right next to Lindsay. Lindsay had enough of this, it was freaking her out, and she called the number that she got from the landline, but the line said the number wasn't in service. Then the number texted her saying, why did you have to do that? And you know what you did. And so this was enough for Lindsay to get really shaken, so she got the police to help her investigate, but nothing came out of it. Now what I think is this was a trickster from a parallel universe playing a prank on her. But what do you think it could be? Something a little more paranormal? But moving on to number 2, unsent text. Sometimes the story doesn't come from the person who gets the wild text, but the person who gets the reaction to it. Reddit user Trodat5204 had her sister call her out of the blue over a text she allegedly sent her. Her sister said she sent a text saying, hey, insert some unusual pet names she sometimes calls her sister, I'm in this city now, I'm scared but it's okay and it's safe here. Your sister. So the person who posted this obviously censored their information, so that's why it reads kind of weird and I keep doing brackets. But anyways, her sister is calling her to demand to know why she's in a different city, why she got this text from a different number, and wants to know what's going on. So the person who got called clarifies the situation for her sister, and they call this other number together. But it just keeps on ringing. They couldn't reach what they thought to be a reasonable explanation, so the Reddit post says it could be maybe 3 things. 1, a coincidence. 2, a joke. Or 3, a parallel universe. Someone in another universe was scared and lost, but the text got sent to the wrong sister in the wrong universe. But on to number 1, alternate universe FaceTime. Reddit user Anonymous5000 left a story of what they described as a glitch in the Matrix story on the comments of another post. What they experienced they could only describe as a FaceTime call from another universe. This user is the father of a 6-year-old daughter, and they keep in touch over FaceTime when she stays at her mom's house. Well, he's talking to her daughter, having a long conversation over FaceTime, when she starts asking if her mommy and daddy are going to be together forever. He then gets confused because he's been separated from her mom for 3 years at that point. But she goes on to explain that no, they're together, and that when he comes home they all watch TV together. So she keeps talking until the reception cuts it off, and he calls back, kinda confused, and then his daughter is in different clothes. He laughs it off and asked if she hung up to change, and then this guy said his daughter said, "I never hung up. You just called me, Dad." So he says, "No, we were just talking on the phone," but she says, "No, they weren't." So then, as I would too, this guy freaked out. This Reddit user says the other call must have been from a parallel universe where the two parents were still together, and the guy gets the chills thinking about how it could have happened. Imagine the alternate universe daughter who's thinking her dad is rambling on about not being with her mom. Kinda wild.